What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Shelty, also known as Max Train. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Skady. Skady, the Skady Meister. We'll see how this one's going to go. But these guys are two of, I would say, probably two of the better random god players out there. Shelty is always like one of those guys that if you chuck him into kind of a Smurf random god tournament, he always tends to do like kind of punch above his weight for whatever reason. He just has like a kind of knowledge of the game that is just higher than I think the average top player, and obviously that comes down to how long he's played the game for and the fact that he hasn't just mained one god for the entirety of his existence, and he's just a really strong player overall. Skady, on the other hand, he mostly just plays the strong gods, but he plays all of them. So he plays like Zeus, he plays Hades, he plays Ra, he plays Odin, he plays Loki, he plays Oranos. And if you play that many different gods, there's really not that many that he's going to be like unhappy about seeing. And even then, he's got enough experience on those civilizations that he can kind of wiggle his way into finding victories with them. So both these guys, it's going to be a really good series. I expect it to be a really good series. Anyways, we do see the mythical horseshoes has been discovered here by Shelty. He's going to want to keep that one away from Skady, because Skady can go Freya and go and get that relic and then have like 7.2 speed raiding cavalry or something like that. As we do see the citizen coming over here onto this gold mine. You never want to forget this house. And Shelty passes the 1600 level test there, getting that house up in time. As the villagers moving over here, going to get themselves some aurochs and all the other good stuff that comes from that. And moving along, we go. The map here is looking relatively decent hunt-wise. There's a lot of elk in the map. There's a lot of boar on the map. But this map is kind of like a Frozen Wastes-esque map with the outsides having nothing here. Basically nothing. It looks like there's some pigs and stuff around the outside scattered. But if you take the fog of war off, you see, yep, there is nothing out there. Which I like this type of map a hell of a lot more than I like Frozen Wastes. There's two things that I hate about Frozen Wastes. One, you can't get a decent trade route going on Frozen Wastes because you can't build in the corner of the map. And two, all the gold mines go around the outsides, which makes it a really simple way to get gold cuts and end games sort of earlier than they ever otherwise really should be ending. But in this map, we see gold mines in the center of the map. We see gold mines on the sides of the map. And it's great. It's fantastic. Plus, we can build a market in the corner. Really tough to defend the market because there's nothing around it to wall up. You have to wall from like here all the way to here, which is a very long wall. Probably the easiest wall to go for is like here all the way over to here. But a really long wall to get your trade route defended. And I love that on this map. And generally speaking, these are the sorts of maps that I quite like. Nice and open, lots of opportunities for early game raids, opportunities to get the trade route set up. It's difficult to get that trade route set up, so you can punish that and you can raid that in the late game, and it's not like crazy easy to defend. And all the good stuff comes. So I'm excited to see how this map's going to turn out and how this game's going to go. But we do see Shelty going up through Prometheus. He is playing against Odin, who I think of all of the Odin players out there, I think that Shelty is kind of the most advanced anti-Oranos Odin player that I've seen in tournament. Definitely has a lot of knowledge on how to play around what the Oranos can do. But as Oranos, he also, I mean, he's good at Oranos, but does he know how to beat what Odin can do, considering he knows the extent of what Odin can actually do things? As we do see the Valkyrie flying over here saying, I know you're here and I'm going to be raiding you straight away. As the Ulfsark coming through for Skady, he's already sending his units forward, leaving one Ulfsark back here to drop buildings. There's another house going to come down early enough there, and he will be able to get himself those longhouses going. As the army is in, we do see this relic in the hands of Shelty. Definitely is going to be wanting to drop that one into the temple. I love these military buildings and the economic building around the town center to defend that one from getting dove. There's no need to not do this as Atlantean. Why? Because you don't need to put farms around your town center. You just don't. You can put your farms around your towers. That's fine. You can put your farms around your manors. That's fine. Anywhere that your citizen can just get garrisoned into is fine because they don't need a drop-off site. You pay for the drop-off site with every villager you train. As the Herser and the Ulfs are going to be attempting to take out this manor here. Citizen retreating back. Units popping in here as well to start saying, get away from this one, Skady. And the Oracle can move back home, as we do see on this top position over here. Promethean taking on the Valkyrie, and the Promethean does lose this fight, but you can micro away, and that's exactly what Skady or Shelty is going to do. He's going to look for some raids now, but the villager now going to get under harassment as a Valor should be coming through relatively soon. There it goes. Citizen gets Valid up. Valid unit's going to come through and get some pressure onto this Valkyrie. Skady still getting the damage done, but Shelty not going to care too much about this one as he sends his heroes to deal with that. And just sitting on the defensive sides of things here for Shelty. I like this. I like the idea of him just sitting back and just waiting to see what's coming for him before he needs to decide anything crazy here in this game. He does get kind of spread thin here by the Valkyrie. And now Shelty knows what's coming for him. He knows that there's going to be a huge amount of units flowing in onto this position. As look at the population, it's very, very equal here, which is not exactly what you want to be in from the Oranos perspective. Generally, you want to be in front on the population. As the mana getting taken out here in this game. And we'll see if Shelty can survive here. And he does say, I like this idea. He does not need to defend that position. Forest Fire coming down on this position here from Skady. I'm not a fan of that. That opens up this base here, opens up this hut to being raided, opens up a lot of the map. I don't like ever Forest Fires like this unless you've got a huge surround on the army or there's a big fight happening. I don't like defensive Forest Fires like that. It's much better to open up your opponent's base, like say, potentially over here, opening this up so you can hit this gold mine over here, or maybe on the back forest, hit this hunt over here as well. If you're just going to be dropping it, as we are now starting to see some raiding cavalry popping out over here as well. Random Raven just scouting down as now Shelty is ready to put some pressure on. 11 citizen to 24. 11 citizen 24 villages there. Ends up being a big advantage for Shelty at this point in the game in terms of income. And he just needs to sit on that advantage and let himself get the army out and force fights that he knows aren't terrible fights. Retreat when he needs to retreat. And he's going to be in a good position. He does have that shockwave available to him if he needs to. As he does pull back, army trying to come through. He doesn't need to click shockwave as a disengaging aspect here, but he can. As the army here from Skady, relatively quick, but Skady has not gotten himself the Lone Wanderer upgrade. He's skipped Lone Wanderer in favor of getting a third military building. An interesting decision there. We'll see how that one's going to go for him as he's slowly going to, well, he'll get Lone Wanderer at some point, but the question is when. As the army of Shelty moving across the map, we do see the raid coming over here as the citizen still onto this hunt here. The question is, how badly does Skady need to defend himself here? Because this gold mine, that's going to get hit. It's got 600 gold left in it. Looks like he's not going to go for it. Instead, returning his army back over here. Skady in position to get a little bit of damage done, but Shelty does notice that, pulling away nicely. Citizen sitting inside of the manor now as the army of Shelty going to come through. Shelty does now have himself the advantage in terms of population. As Skady has gotten himself some upgrades coming through. Still no Lone Wanderer in. Still not getting it out. He's going to be making Thrown Axeman instead here as the citizen makes a slight retreat and gets himself that hero citizen through as well with that valor. Max value from these valors throughout this game as the army retreating back home. I mean, at some point you do have to take a fight, because if you just allow the Odin player to mass an army, what's going to happen is the Odin player is going to get to the heroic age and he is going to click Frost on your army. He's going to kill your army, and then he's going to click Ragnarok and he's going to win the game. And there is nothing you can do to stop that. So the ball is 100% in the court of the Oranos player to make these fights happen. As the army coming through here, going to attempt to defend here. Great micro thus far from Shelty, but his Kyra Ballista is going to get sniped down there. So not the best of control as the rest of this army searches around the map looking for some villagers to kill. Skady very smartly aware of what's happening here. He sees the army moving forward, going to pull those units back home as the citizen attempts to retreat back to the main base, but eventually it will get cleaned up. 30 HP remaining, 29 HP, 24, 19 HP remaining. Ulfsark, will it catch up to this citizen? Answer, no. Good defensive micro there from Shelty. He's going to be dropping an armory down as well as watchtowers getting dropped into his main base. The dwarves now coming over onto this gold mine for Skady. Skady has put himself into a relatively difficult position in that now he's on a second gold mine. He needs just a little bit more of the food and gold to get to the heroic age, but if he can do that and not fall in this game, he's going to be in a really good position. But I don't see an armory anywhere just yet as the Ulfsark retreating back, and Skady needs to get that armory up as soon as he possibly can. So these thrown axemen getting taken down, retreating away. Not the biggest of deals as there's no units being created at the moment. Do we see an armory anywhere? Still no armory. Still running around the map looking for something to do. And Skady is looking like is the type of player that doesn't notice he doesn't have an armory until it's too late. Thea is now clicked up by Shelty here. Spamming some units out as well. So now the Ulfsark swinging around onto this position, going to be hitting these Terma here. The Murmillo retreating away, and we do see that Skady, he's in a lot of pain now. I think he's misplayed this one. We could have just gone heroic age. It would have been completely fine. Hitting onto this position, I don't think he even wins these fights anymore with the Ulfsark against those medium Murmillo. Plus the Thea coming through is going to mean this gold mine over here can get hit by Stymphalian birds and the like. As Skady does come through, going to be attempting to take this fight. Shockwave does get dropped down, pushing those Ulfsark away to allow those Terma to get a lot more damage done onto the thrown axeman here as the Promethean comes onto the back of that fight there to target those medium thrown axeman down. Great micro from Shelty there. The Hersa not actually onto any of those myth units here, so they're getting max value in this fight as well. As the Valkyrie is coming through here for Skady. Shelty staying at a pretty solid 90 population while taking this fight. This forces Skady to stay in the classical age as well after all is said and done. Shelty going to be retreating back for the time being, but he's going to be very, very happy about that fight. He's now going to be having Stymphalian birds. He's also going to be able to drop himself a bunch more military barracks and make some Arcus. And also, more importantly, he's going to be able to get himself some Dryads in to really start winning these fights nicely. As Skady pulls back for the time being, the Stymphalian bird's going to be able to do tons of damage because those throwing axemen do not have the upgrade, which gets a huge amount of damage done onto those flying units. Axe of Muspel, that one is. And he's now starting to get that one out as the army of Skady does manage to hold for the time being. But Shelty here pulling back. He's got himself the Hesperid's tree in his main base, not quite having the gold income. Lots and lots of wood in the bank here, though, for Shelty at the moment, but what he needs is tons of gold, lots of villagers on this gold mine, and a lot of those Dryads coming through, as we do see a marker getting dropped down there for Shelty as well. As the raids from Skady looking to start moving across the map. Obviously, he can just garrison in here and send a handful of units over to defend that if he wants. Picking off some houses is going to get some good damage done, but now Skady has gotten to the heroic age, and this is good. This is big for Skady. He's also hitting a decent raid over here, so causing some idle time. There are a handful of Arcus available to defend over here, but a handful of raiding cavalry as well might be enough to win these fights. Going for the mana instead of taking the Arcus on. Good little micro here from Skady to pull those Arcus back, but Shelty is paying attention there. Good micro there, but he does have to retreat away. As now Shelty, he has the idea. He knows what's going on. He sees the gold mine. He is coming over here onto this position, and he is going to be hitting the dwarves and everything else. But Skady is over here with a handful of units. He will have access to the frost. Generally speaking, you want to frost the entirety of the Atlantean army if you possibly can. But he does take this fight a little bit early before the rest of those units come in, and he does drop that frost down. But look at all these units that are going to be moving over here to help out Skady a little bit down on the population. And we do see, look at that, the Stymphalian bird, super annoying here, going to be taking out the ox cart on that position, cleaning that one up as the Stymphalian bird does retreat back. And the medium arc is going to be pushing in here to try and help on this fight. But with the ox cart down, what do? You send another ox cart over there, a couple getting built, a market coming down there for Skady. Skady's plan here is going to be get to the Mythic Age, click Ragnarok, call it a day. That's what he needs to do. That's how he needs to fight it. And we'll see if he's going to be able to do so, as the Arcus getting a nice little defensive position on this forest here. Stymphalian bird over here should be getting targeted onto that frost giant as fast as it possibly can. As Valor does come down, the unit's going to be attempting to retreat back here as the Stymphalian bird gets targeted down. Good little micro there from Shelty, but he needs to pull even further away as these units retreating out of that position here. Good fight for Skady as he is picking off a lot of Shelty's units here with the Stymphalian bird getting cleaned up. One frost giant does end up going down, however, as Skady now in the driver's seat, it seems. But the raid's still coming in onto those villages. This hunt is important as the Stymphalian bird getting targeted down yet again. But the Dryad coming through. The units on this position going to be sniping that down to allow that Stymphalian bird into the fight here nicely. As Skady retreating back. He's still got the throwing axeman over here in this position. He's still got a decent amount of those longhouses producing units. But what Skady really needs now is a fortress, not a fortress, a hill fort. If he gets that down, would be absolutely fine. And Skady pushing forward, gonna be taking out those throwing axemen, taking out the Herser, and all the other good stuff. So do you see the Raiders pushing in? Pickaxe coming through for Skady as well. There's a cheeky little shockwave coming through, but that didn't really do anything. I'm not sure what the plan there was from Shelty, but at this point, it looks like Skady's economy has just hit the bed there. It's like it's not working at all for him. He's dropping in population really, really fast after all of that good stuff that Skady had done. I don't know what happened here. We see some hero Arcus coming in to finish off those frost giants. And after all of the fighting and all the dust settles, for some reason here, Skady is just not able to get the population out. Building-wise, I mean, it looks like Shelty has got 4 military buildings pumping. He's not building out of that counter barracks anymore. He does have the Hedgebridge tree that he's building from. But in the end here, somehow, some way, Skady just could not continue producing. How's the economy going? Is it really that different? No, it's not that different. What happened in this game here? Military unit loss count here, relatively similar. It's just military count in general here is just in front for Shelty. And that's the call. That's the big problem here, that Skady misplayed. He did not need to take these fights. Yes, his dwarves on this position. He doesn't want to retreat off of this, but getting up a hill fort here as a priority probably would have meant he didn't need to continue fighting. Could have got back up to the population cap and actually continued to fight here against Shelty and been completely fine here. But he just could not make it work, and Skady loses that first game. Shelty getting the dub. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.